Hello and welcome to Full Tech Ahead. I'm your host, Amanda Razani, and I'm excited to be here today with Andre Scott. He is a developer advocate for Coralogix. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, Amanda. Thank you.
Happy to have you on the show. Can you
Great.
share a little bit about yourself for our audience, and then what does Coralogix services do they provide?
Yeah, sure. I've been a DevOps engineer and SRE for over 10 years, working mainly under Microsoft's umbrella. And I've got the opportunity to work with many different companies from some of the largest hedge funds to the smallest animation studios. So I've got quite a few stories when it comes to DevOps practices and observability practices. But yes, I'm really excited here to talk to you about Coralogix, where I am today. We're a full stack observability platform, everything from logs, metrics, traces to real-user monitoring to APM, and most recently now our AI center. So we have observability for AI, which I'm really excited to talk about to you today.
Wonderful. Well, our topic for today is AI chatbots
Yes.
and some of the problems that have been caused by them. For example, I know Air Canada had some issues, the city of New York, and then Chevrolet agreeing to sell a Tahoe for $1 with their chatbots. So I guess we'll start off with why are there so many problems with the chatbots still?
Well, they're a fundamentally different way of operating. They're non-deterministic. So we really need some evaluation around these type of things. It's a different way of working. Traditional monitoring would show, say, an API call returning 200. That's a success. But the same kind of API call to like OpenAI or Claude could be responding to 200 okay, but it could still be failing catastrophically on the other side because it's a different way of operating. It's like a black box. You can't see what's happening inside. So this is why we need evaluation, and the only way to do that is with an evaluation engine. So you can evaluate the correctness of the AI and stop these failures from happening. So that's what we have the AI Center for.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit more. How
Yeah.
can business leaders ensure the accuracy and trustworthiness of the chatbots?
Okay, so it's all about shipping the telemetry, and with that, you would need to really own your code and use it. You can use open source technology, LM Trace with Coralogix, for example, and then you can start sending the traces through, and you can really start understanding what is happening inside the LM. So, things like tracking the LM actual conversation, seeing inside, all the way from the user input to the system prompt in the background, user question to the AI's response, and then you can evaluate that with some of our evaluation scores like correctness, prompt injection, is it staying on topic, is it completing the request? So all that happens again with setting up that open source LM trace kit. You need to be able to track all them calls, etc., and then that can then prevent those failures from happening. The only way is with an evaluator. The evaluation is the crown jewels when it comes to this agentic AI workflows that we're seeing.
All right. So, what's the first step for a company if they want to integrate the evaluator with their AI chatbots?
First step again is, well, first of all, you need some sort of technology that's capable of writing the evaluation. So I know with us, we have invested a lot in the evaluators. There are loads of small language models that are trained specifically on each different type of topic. Things like PI leakage, SQL injection, prompt injection, toxicity, topic adherence, all specially trained models that can go in and then evaluate the actual interaction. So that's critical. But to do that, you need to obviously be sending that data. And with us, with Coralogix, we love open source. So we're built on open telemetry standards, which I really recommend because that really, well, I see a lot of these other low code solutions people are starting to use. But do you really own that code? Like, can you really evaluate on that? You're giving your application business logic away to these foundational models, but you really need to be able to instrument it correctly with open source formats so then you can really have control and understand what's going on.
We talked about a couple of different instances, but from your experience, can you share what are some of the repercussions if businesses aren't tracking their AI chatbots and incorrect information is given out, or what are some of the mistakes that can be made and what's the damage to their reputation?
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of risk out there, like things like PI leakage, leaking sensitive data. A lot of these chatbots are connected to vector DBs, which could potentially have sensitive information. So there's potential for leakage there. GDPR comes into play, HIPAA, financial regulations. I think there's quite a lot of I know in the UK they're releasing quite a lot of the government controls around these kind of things. So you have to be compliant. So but yeah, things that can happen. I've seen DPD. I don't know if you've seen that on the news, where a frustrated customer got in behind the system prompt and managed to convince the AI chatbot to say some not nice things about the company. Like it wrote a poem around DPD telling them how not to use them and use other competitors. So like that, and that went viral. So that's embarrassing for not only the developers but also the company image as well. Having to explain these type of things. So I see it all the time. It's like as an SRE, we're seeing like deploy first and then think about monitoring second. And the same kind of things happening with these AI chatbots. People are rushing to deploy these type of things, and they're not thinking about how they're actually going to monitor them and evaluate them because that's the crown jewels, as I said. But yeah.
Well, and that brings up another question I have is this technology is advancing quite rapidly.
Yeah.
And are there any regulations or laws that business leaders also need to make sure they're adhering to when they're integrating these types of tools?
Yeah, in the UK, as I said, they're bringing out some regulation about compliance. I'm not sure if it's hitting America, but it's on the way. So people need to be ready for these type of things. And as I said before, the crown jewels of any AI, agentic AI observability is the evaluation, being able to evaluate the correctness and then to set them guardrails. You don't want these things to be happening to like the DPD, to Google, to Chevrolet, etc. You need to be able to evaluate with the scores and then set some sort of guardrails in place to stop this from happening to protect yourselves and your customers.
So we've talked about the bad outcomes, but now let's talk about what are some of the benefits of using AI chatbots and what are can you share some use cases that are impactful?
Yeah, exactly. With the likes of like support chatbots, for examples, things that are so repetitive, things like people are always coming into the support tests for password resets, for regular problems. AI can really pick up the heavy lifting on that and potentially reduce your amount of support tickets coming through. For example, they have access to a lot of information, so with that can speed up a lot of processes for your business. So it's fantastic in that sense. But also we have to be very careful, of course, that they don't hallucinate. And again, all that comes with an evaluator that can make sure that it stays on topic, which is what it's all about.
Wonderful. Well, what do you envision the future of AI chatbots to be in a year from now?
The future, I just think it's going to get even more advanced. Definitely more of a speech-to-speech technology, I think, will be happening. So not just a written format. I think more potentially voice and calls happening, which is really, really powerful. So that could be the next advancement, I think, not just text, more speech. And then even further down the line, video could be coming involved, and like the possibilities are endless with this type of stuff. With type of stuff.
Absolutely. It would be interesting to watch this area. Well, if there was one key takeaway you could leave our audience with today, what would that be?
Key takeaway is when you're building these agentic AI applications is to think about like, do you own the code? One. Two, think about your how you're going to monitor it and how you're going to send your telemetry data. And three is the critical thing is to apply evaluation on top of your agentic AI services. You need to be in control of the correctness of your AI chatbot.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
No worries. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for your time.
And thank you to our audience. Stay tuned. There are more podcasts coming up.